Hey guys, Michael from Fire and Brilliance, and today's F&B Geminar is going to be a special one for you. We've got many requests. I know that over the years, I have introduced many different lines of Moissanite to different shapes and different cuts, and I've gone over to extremely a lot of detail in each individual stone, from measurements to weights and so on. Today's episode is going to be a quick overview of the FAB line specifically. Okay, of all the cuts, all the shapes, so that you can quickly see it all in one take, just in case you don't have the time to review all of the other episodes. So hopefully this works out for you. And if you've seen our backdrop here, this is the podcast backdrop. I just did an episode with Sid. She just left the room and we're going right into the F&B Geminar. So definitely check out the podcast. We have a lot of good stuff there as well. Okay, so if you haven't already, give us a sub, hit the like button, let us know what you like, let us know what you don't like. If you have another topic, leave a comment below and we'll definitely get back to you on that as well. All right, so I'm gonna get right into it for you. So this episode is going to actually serve two purposes. The first purpose is obviously to go an overview of the FAB line, and the second thing that I want to help you with is to navigate the Fire and Brilliance website so that you can find the FAB line. Okay, so it's relatively simple. From the desktop version, all you have to do is go through the home page. From the home page, there is a drop down menu in the first top bar menu that's called the FAB Gems. Now if you want to take a look at all of our FAB Gems, you can go ahead and click onto that menu and it will be broken down into different collection types. Okay, all of these different collection types, from the first crush or the crush ice, the Cupid or the hearts and arrows, and the Heirloom or all of our vintage cut Moissanite. There are different buttons or icons here. They can click into it and you'll be able to find all of the different collection types. Okay. The other way to navigate through the FAB Gems is to go through directly from the main menu and click on the links directly. So let's go over the traditional cuts. Now, traditional cuts, what we are calling traditional cuts under the FAB line, all of the cuts that people are normally used to seeing when they go into a jewelry store, or all of the modern cuts of today. Okay, so let's go over the first cut, which is the round brilliant cut, Moissanite by Fire and Brilliance. A round brilliant cut, the main idea of a brilliant cut or a round brilliant cut is to maximize the sparkle, the fire, the brilliance, the overall sparkle of these gemstones. Okay, so under the traditional Moissanite line by Fire and Brilliance, we have many brilliant cuts, from rounds to ovals to radiance to pairs, and these are hopefully self-explanatory when it comes from rounds, ovals, and pairs. Radiance are more like emerald shape, but it's cut as a brilliant cut to maximize the fire and brilliance, which is this one here. Okay, the princess cut is also a brilliant cut. The cushion is also a brilliant cut, which is right there. The heart is also a brilliant cut, and the marquee is also a brilliant cut. Now all of these cuts here are all cut to maximize the fire, the brilliance, the sparkle. So in other words, if you are looking for a gemstone that you want to really shine as a center stone, to really sparkle, to really pop, if you will, and you want something that really maximizes that sparkle, and that's what most people are usually going for, then definitely go for the brilliant cut. Now if you notice, there are two other cuts within this collection that I did not mention as a brilliant cut. These are step cuts. Okay, so it's an emerald cut and the Asher cut. The Asher cut is basically an emerald cut. It's a square emerald. That's all it basically means. Okay, it's basically the same thing. And a step cut, the difference between a step cut and a brilliant cut is that it's faceted in a way where it looks like a bunch of stairways. Okay, so the facets are parallel to the edges of the stones. Okay, so in other words, if you take a look into the stone, it looks like a bunch of steps, right? So the emerald is an elongated step cut, and it's also octagonal, meaning it has 8 sides. The Asher is the same exact thing. The only difference here is that it has even sides, so it's a square emerald. Okay, so hopefully that was a quick overview of all of our cuts from the traditional cuts on the FAB line. Now let's go to the next Fab line. It's called the First Crush. Now, the First Crush is the Fire and Brilliance line of crushed ice moissanite. What is crushed ice? Crushed ice, unlike that of the Brilliant cut, is faceted in a way where the facets look very busy, and it looks exactly like what crushed ice will look like. So if you ever had a drink with a lot of crushed ice in it, that's what the facet's supposed to look like. It's very busy, it's very complicated, it looks really nice, it looks really sparkly, but at the same time it gives it a different look, overall look, and an overall appearance. Many people love it, some people don't, but a lot of people actually do prefer it because it's very diamond-like, okay? So the shapes that we have is the crushed ice cushion shape, the crushed ice oval, crushed ice pear, as well as crushed ice radiant. Now we do have two other shapes here, or three other shapes, and they're actually, well, we have three other cuts here. The only difference is that these are both oval, but we do have the skinny cut. In other words, it's longer. So if you like the longer ovals, then go with the skinny oval cut, crushed ice, as opposed to the standard ovals. And if you like the cushions, but you do not want the sides to be even, then go for the elongated crushed ice cushion, which is right there. And we also have the skinny crushed ice cushion. So in other words, there are three crushed ice cushions in our First Crush Fire and Brilliance moissanite line. It's this one, which is even-sided, is this one, which is elongated, and you can also pick this one, which is also elongated. The only difference is that it's a skinny cut. So as you can see, it looks longer and skinnier. Okay, so again, so our First Crush line is our crushed ice line, and it's called the First Crush. And all that basically means, if you can see here, I'm gonna go ahead and click play, is that all of these gemstones here looks as if it's crushed ice. All right, so let me move on here. Our next line has two shapes in it. It's our Cupid, or our hearts and arrows cuts. Okay, so if you take a look into a Cupid moissanite by Fire and Brilliance, these are both also brilliant cuts, which are cut to maximize the fire and brilliance of a gemstone. Now, the only difference is this. If you take a look at the round as well as the cushion shape, we have two shapes within this line. It's a round and a cushion shape. The difference here is that this brilliant cut is cut to precision, so that there are arrows, or in other words, there are reflections, light reflections of arrows from the top looking down into the crown of the gemstone, and hearts when turned upside down. So when the pavilion's looking up towards your eyes, you should be able to see the shapes or the light reflections of hearts. Okay, so when I say that it's cut to precision, it basically means that the gemstone has to be cut to specific parameters. The facets have to be cut to specific parameters so that the light reflections can show arrows from the top looking down, or when you're looking down into the crown, and hearts when you're looking down into the pavilion or the bottom part of the gemstone. So again, there are two shapes within this collection, the round as well as the cushion. And last but not least is our Heirloom or vintage cut moissanite by Fire and Brilliance. Now, in this collection, there are multiple shapes. Okay, so there's a round, but if it's a vintage cut, it's called an OEC or an old European cut. We have the antique cushion or old mine cut, which is the OMC. We also have the elongated OMC. Okay, so these three cuts here are vintage cuts. So these cuts were very popular before all the modern brilliant cuts. Okay, so these cuts were cuts typically worn during the times when there were still kings and queens, when there wasn't much machinery. People were cutting and faceting by hand. The one unique feature of an OEC and OMC is you'll see this big culet. It's a faceted culet, so you'll see a dark, not a dark, but a rounded shape at the bottom of the culet, because the culet's actually not at a fine point, but it's faceted, so it's flat instead. So therefore you see a reflection of a flat surface. The elongated cushion, you'll see a faceted line as opposed to a faceted rounded culet. Okay, we also included a few other cuts into our heirloom collection, which is the rose cut, which you can find here, and you can find the Criss cuts, which is available as an octagonal Criss cut, which is, in other words, it looks like the emerald or the octagonal emerald or the octagonal radiant cuts, the same overall shape. The only difference is that the facets are cut in a way where it looks very water-like. So that's the octagonal Criss cut, and you have the cushion Criss cut. The same look and feel, the only difference here is that this is a cushion. A cushion has a rounded edges, so it looks more pillow-like. Okay, and the last two cuts that I have not mentioned just yet are the Asher cuts. These are octagonal Asher cuts. These are also put into our vintage cuts. One is a cognac color, and the other one is the regular Moissanite. It is available in colorless as well as near colorless. And most of these gemstones from all of our collections here, from the heirloom to the Cupid to the first crush to the traditional cut, are all, most of the shapes and sizes are available in colorless as well as near colorless. So hopefully that was a quick overview of what a brilliant cut is, what a vintage cut is, what a first crush or crush ice is, as well as what a hearts and arrows cut is, and with all of the shapes and sizes all in one video for you to view. Okay, now if you want to go into more detail, definitely check out our other F&B Geminars. Most of these cuts, if not all, have gone into detail with it in terms of how it's been cut or how it is cut, the benefits of it, the pros and cons, how it, the weight, we've measured it, we've also weighed it, we've also discussed about what the difference is in terms of color when it's colorless versus near colorless, and all the different shapes and sizes. So with that said, hopefully this was able to help you out. Now if you want for me to go into any other detail on any of other gemstones and other shapes and sizes and what have you, definitely leave a comment below. Let us know what you like, let us know what you want to know, let us know what you want to learn about, and one of us will be more than happy to help you out. And if we do find a topic that a lot of people are requesting, then we'll be more than happy to create a brand new F&B Geminar just for that specific stone, shape, size, or what have you. Okay, all right, thanks everyone. I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.